sometimes think about, why is a woman acting the way she is? It's not like we wake up in the morning thinking, ooh, I'm gonna be a bitch today.
You know, actually, I do think a lot of women wake up on a Saturday morning and say that to themselves. Yeah. A little disclaimer, I'm going to talk about my ex-girlfriend a lot in today's video, but yeah, my ex-girlfriend certainly was an individual who had a great degree of self-awareness and knew exactly what she was doing when she was treating me badly. And also, one thing that part of my channel has even been dedicated to is explaining and thinking about why women do the shit they do. I also explain why men do things too, and I just explain why people do things they do in general on my channel. So yeah, I do honestly think a lot about why women act the way they act. And I have lots of videos explaining, or at least theorizing, why they do the things they do. So yeah, spent a great deal of time trying to figure out that. I remember one huge reason why my ex-girlfriend probably doesn't like me now is because I spent a great deal of time trying to understand why she did the things she did. So yeah, I do think a great deal about why women feel the way they feel, which is why I think that I'm probably one of the best people to respond to you, because I will not attack you with the amount of vitriol that you have received. Instead, I'm just going to chat with you. We're just going to talk, and hopefully we can come to a consensus. I'm going to build bridges today. It's basically what I'm going to do.
Hey guys, and I literally mean guys, men of this world, this video is geared towards you. I have one wish, just one. I really wish that you could spend one day in the life of a woman. And no, I don't mean giving birth or being on your period or PMSing, nothing physical like that. I just wish that you could spend one day in the life of a woman so you would understand what it's like to be a woman and all the shit that we go through.
You know what? I'm not going to bullshit anybody. If I was a woman for just one day, oh my goodness, the worlds I would crush, the souls I would destroy, the things that I would do. Or I could talk about the amount of confidence I could inspire. You know, the amount of days that I can make. I mean, let's be honest, women have a great deal of emotional power over men. If I could be a woman for one day, and I've thought about that a couple of times, way like a couple years ago. I haven't thought about that recently because I don't think I would enjoy being a woman. Not anymore, at least. But anyway, the point I'm making is I have thought about that, and I have thought about some of the things that women do have to go through on a regular basis, and I can completely understand why you might think that you deal with some shit, okay? And that's why I can empathize on some things that women go through. On the other hand, though, I have to ask, have you ever put yourself in the place of a man, especially a man that is trying to date a woman, not by being a jerk, but by being a nice person? Please keep that in mind, because I'm going to be referring to that later in the video. Continue.
Because we go through a lot of shit, and I really don't think that you guys understand sometimes the extent of the shit that we go through. Seriously.
And I have to be completely honest, you're right. I don't think a lot of men do really put themselves in the position of women. And when they do, they don't really see a great deal of problems with it. For example, I have said this about catcalling and street harassment in the very many video responses I have made about it. But usually, men are not the ones who are receiving a great deal of compliments based on their attire, or they don't receive a lot of attention for simply being men. On the other hand, women do, or more specifically, attractive women receive a lot of compliments or attention for just being attractive women. So, when you put an individual who does not get a lot of attention in a position to where they will receive a lot of attention, and then try to somehow tell that person who obtains nothing from being what they are, that it is terrible to obtain everything because you are, well, no one's really going to empathize with that, because it just sounds like you're complaining about nothing.
What really pisses me off is men who say they hate feminists. What do you mean you hate feminists?
You know, not to be a dick, but it means that they hate feminists, you know. Thing about men is that they're not normally passive-aggressive. Now, there are some white knight beta males who are passive-aggressive, but most men will usually tell you how they feel. They will say what they mean, and they will mean what they say. Now, personally, I don't hate feminists. I despise the feminist movement and the feminist ideology, but as for an individual feminist, the thing that guides my approach to them is how genuine they are. And I think that a lot of young ladies are just misguided. I don't think that they're ideologues who are completely fucking crazy. I do think some of them genuinely think that they are trying to do good things. And I think any male ally or male feminist is just whipped. I think they're just whipped people. I don't think they really listen to the shit that comes out of most feminists' mouth. But yeah, usually when people say that they hate feminists, it means that they hate feminists. But I don't think you should hate a feminist. I think you should despise the ideology. Those are two different things. So keep going.
Feminism, at its core, means equal rights for men and women.
Well, see, that's the thing, because while that is indeed the definition of the word feminist, if you listen, especially to Lacey Green, actually talk about feminism, you're going to notice that there is an undertone that speaks in volumes about how much disdain she has for men, and she tries to cover it up, and she does a swell job of covering it up, but I think I do a better job of dissecting the bullshit that is Lacey Green. Most of the feminists that I do video responses to do have an undertone of disdain for men, and they sound completely fucking crazy when they talk about patriarchy theory, because most homes in America aren't even patriarchies anymore.
Simple as that. So hopefully you are a feminist. I'm a feminist, you should be a feminist too. If you think that men and women should have equal rights, bam, that's all there is to it. And I'm sorry if these extremist feminist groups are wrecking it for the rest of us women, but they just scream louder than the most of us.
Now, it would be really easy to say that's a no true Scotsman fallacy, except you didn't actually use no true Scotsman fallacy. You did acknowledge that they were indeed feminists. Now, here's the thing though. I don't do video responses to extreme feminists because I can't tell them apart from people who are joking and people who are being dead serious. I do video responses to moderate feminists. And again, if you listen to the words that come out the mouths of the moderate feminists, you will understand the problems of feminism. It has nothing to do with the extremists who talk about kill all men. It has everything to do with the subtle, I'm going to push for legislation that gives women a lot more power, when in all actuality, this isn't a problem to be fixed. For example, street harassment, because it's the first thing that came to my mind.
So it's really not my fault, but I really do think that all of us should be feminists. Alright, I'm not going to talk about feminism again because I know the dreaded F word, dreaded by all men, so I'm not going to talk about it, but the reason I'm going to say this is because it really does piss me off when men say that they don't like feminists. What really pisses me off is men that call women bitches and blame the feminist movement for the reason that they are single. And I have to read you this article that I found on my laptop, and I'm going to read you a part. It's called BASSFZz Part 1, The Men Giving Up on Women and Checking Out of Society, and it's clearly by an anti-feminist. Marriage is dead. Divorce means you're screwed for life. Women have given up on monogamy. Not true, which makes them uninteresting to us for any serious relationship or raising a family. And it continues on later on to say, this is my favorite part, by the way. Social commentators, journalists, academics, scientists, and young men themselves have all spotted the trend. Among men of about 15 to 30 years old, ever-increasing numbers are checking out of society altogether, giving up on women, sex and relationships, and retreating into pornography, sexual fetishes, chemical addictions, video games, and in some cases, boorish lad culture, all of which insulate them from a hostile, debilitating social environment created, some argue, by the modern feminist movement. I'm sorry, but that is wrong on so many levels. You're blaming feminists for the fact that you're hibernating?
No, they're not blaming feminists for the fact that they're hibernating. They're blaming women in general for the behavior that women have done. What they're really doing is they're blaming feminism for encouraging the destructive behavior that a lot of women have, and they're blaming feminism all for the reasons why women treat men with such disdain. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're not saying that. Well, yeah, they are saying it. It's partly because of feminism. And I say that all the time, it's partly because of feminism. For example, let's talk about the sexual revolution really, really fast. What you've done is you have told women to go out and express your sexuality in any which way you want, without bearing in mind the nature that is women. Now, some people might say, some feminists might say, I'm about to mansplain to you, but just bear with me here for a second, okay? Now, the natural inclination for women is monogamy, and women want to get married, and women want to have children. Then you have the feminist movement to go tell women to say, forget all that, just go around and have sex with a bunch of people. And they do that. Now, here's the thing. It not only causes a great deal of emotional stress on the woman herself, but now what comes into question is her selection of men. Now what comes into question is the men that she's picking to have sex with. Now, because women are hypergamous, most women will not try to date men that they feel they are either equal to or lesser than. Most women are going to try to have sex with the top 20% of men. Most women are going to shoot for the fucking stars when it comes to getting into a relationship. So, if 80% of all women are trying to have sex with 20% of all the guys, you have left 80% of all the guys trying to have sex with the 80% of women that don't think that they should have anything to do with the other 80% of men. Hopefully you're starting to see the problem here. The problem is, feminism has encouraged a lot of women to treat men terribly and to whip men into submission. And I can go on into an entire video explaining that, but that is not what I am here to do today. Keep going.
I really can't stand men blaming the feminist movement, and I will explain to you why. I will explain to you what it's like to be a woman, and hopefully someone will understand. I open my fridge, decide there's no food, so I put on some clothes, don't even bother with the makeup, and head to the grocery store. I do not ask to be hit on. I do not ask to be verbally harassed by creepy old men. And I know you guys think that women overuse the term creepy, but if there's an old man that's 50 years older than you licking his lips at you, that is creepy. I don't know this man. He's a stranger to me.
I think this is a very important part in the video where I can talk about perspective once again. Remember how earlier in today's video I was talking about what happens when you put someone in a position that does not obtain a lot of attention and yearns for it into the position of an individual who does obtain a lot of attention and complains about it. What you will see from this person over here is that they think that individual is incredibly ungrateful. Because honestly, I could understand why you'd be a little creeped out if a 50-year-old man was licking his lips at you, because you probably get a lot of attention from men because you're a beautiful young lady. But if a 50-year-old woman were to lick her lips at any man who does not normally get any attention at all, chances are he's not going to be as creeped out as you are. Now, will he go approach that woman and try to do anything with her? Some men might. But for the most part, they probably won't. But, and here's the kicker, they'll still probably appreciate being an object of desire. Because for the most part, women don't approach men. Women don't try to put effort into dating men. It's the other way around. And so when you put someone in that position, for example, you put me. Now me, I've said before, I'm a pretty lonely guy. I've gotten better at it, but in all honesty, if there were a bunch of women trying to talk to me and trying to spend time with me, I would not be complaining about that. Because I don't get that at all right now. So I personally don't see any problem with it. I try to have empathy for you, but I just can't. It just kind of sounds like you're complaining about nothing, really.
And I know what you must be thinking, okay, well, you're just talking about old men, but guess what? There's random creeps, and I live in a big city, so this is even more likely.
Now, harkening back to what you said earlier in your video, yeah, I do think the word creepy is overused. Personally, I have been called creepy by a lot of women. Now, granted, a lot of those women actually turned out to be sluts, and when I really thought about it for a second, it all made sense to me. Now, the word creepy itself just means to make someone feel uncomfortable. That's just all it really means. So, really, these men may not actually be creepy mother suckers that only have like one eye and a slash across their face with long, creepy spider-like fingers. They're probably just normal people, but because they make you feel uncomfortable, they come off as creepy, not because they're actually individuals who inspire fear or make you feel bad. It's just that they're not the men that you want attention from. And I somewhat understand that. However, the word creepy is used way too much. So much so to the point where it is almost diluted. Again, I personally have been called creepy by a lot of ladies when all I had ever done to them is having nice normal conversation with them. Again, I could make a whole video around that, but that is not what today's video is about, so let's just keep going.
That I encounter on a daily basis, and you think it's old men, but it's not just old men. Let's talk about the pickup artist movement, started by a whole bunch of like 20-something-year-olds all around the world, and it's very much prevalent in Toronto because I have actually encountered, and my friends have encountered these pickup artists, And it's kind of scary because they film YouTube videos about picking up girls and trying to have sex with as many of them as possible, and they put these videos on YouTube.
You know, in all honesty, I know there is a lot of disdain and hatred for the pickup artist community. And I'm going to be completely unbiased here and say that there are a lot of men who are probably just jealous. I'm just going to put that on the record right now. But as much as I say that pickup artists are wasting their time and what they're doing is really stupid in my opinion, I cannot dislike them as much as most people do. And here's why. Because if a pickup artist is using a specific method or pattern to date women, you can't get mad at the pickup artist because his techniques work. You have to talk to the women that the techniques are working on. You see, here's the thing about the pickup artist community. The pickup artist community could be obliterated overnight. Okay, I'll be fair. Over the course of 3 nights. Okay? If all the women had like a women's summit, if all the women in North America just came together and they all just said, look, we're only going to have sex with guys who treat us fairly and really pay attention to us, then the techniques the pickup artists work would cease to exist. They wouldn't work. The pickup artists would then adapt to do what works to get the women to sleep with them. So women ultimately have all of the power in that situation. The pickup artist community can be obliterated if all the women just decided to stop having sex with these guys. The pickup artists only do what works. If it works, they're going to do it. And if it works, you have to ask, who does it work on? The women that they're trying to sleep with. You can't get mad at the pickup artist community because their techniques work. You have to address the women who are doing it. And the solution is just tell all the women to stop fucking the pickup artists.
Guys, when you blame this whole feminism movement for the reason that girls are giving you the cold shoulder, please don't, because that is certainly not the reason. It's the fact that there's a whole bunch of creeps and we really don't know who to trust. We just learn to distrust everyone on the street. Second of all, going back to this article, guys, it's not that we don't want to get married, it's that we don't want to get married at 17 like our grandmothers did.
That's not what the article is saying. You know, here's the thing. Women do definitely want to get married. Except, by the time that they want to get married, they have become unmarriageable. They usually carry around a lot of baggage, for example, children and emotional baggage and emotional damage that they received from dating the bad boy type characters. You see, usually women in our society now settle for men that they otherwise would have never paid attention to in high school because he will take care of her. But it's never really the man's first choice, and it's never even the woman's first choice. You have a bunch of people settling for each other just because they get something out of it, and it becomes unfortunate, and the two people will end up not even fucking liking each other. You see, the thing is, when you encourage women to go around and have a bunch of sex, it causes a lot of mental damage and mental problems with them. And due to the social stigma, and due to the fact that men want loyal women, women become unattractive to men. You see, because you tell women to go out and have sex and explore all of these different options, and they do that. And then they bring back a bunch of emotional damage, and men say, fuck that shit, I'm not going to deal with this woman, and they just go and do their own thing, because of what feminists have encouraged women to do.
My grandmother got married at 17, she had her first kid at 17, aka my dad, and when I think about who I was at 17, I was totally not ready to even be in a committed relationship. I really do think that you need time to grow as a person before you can be in a relationship.
And I completely agree with that. What I don't completely agree with is having a bunch of different flings or sexual relationships with a bunch of people, and then coming out of that and saying, okay, I'm ready to fucking commit now, even though I just had sex with 17 guys over the course of 3 months. That's what I don't agree with.
I mean, I think about how much I've changed even this year. I finally found myself this year. I know what I want now, I know what I like, and I think those are qualities that only help you when you're in a relationship. So I think that's important for guys and girls to do. Just take some time to be by yourself, to be single, and get to know what you like and what you want with life, so no one else sways you to make those decisions.
And while I completely agree with you, I do feel that your advice in this video is a little misguided. Because what you fail to realize is that there are a lot of men who spend a great deal of time trying to make women's lives a better, safer safer, happier place. And they end up getting abused and mistreated, and they end up feeling absolutely terrible about themselves at the end of the day. That's what happens. It has nothing to do with the fact that men aren't trying to date women, or men aren't trying to be with women, or men aren't trying to love women. It has everything to do with the fact that women don't like nice guys and will treat them badly and abuse them and treat them horribly. And I have a couple of videos on my channel talking about that, so that's not what today's video is for.
Guys, girls today are more independent. We're more career-oriented. We like to go on more adventures and travel, and that's not something that should be punished. That's something that should be celebrated, and definitely we should not be called bitches because we're more independent. And that's why it makes me so mad when girls are being blamed, and especially feminism is being blamed for the fact that guys are isolating themselves, because that is complete bullshit. Guys, if girls are going out and seeking adventures, doesn't that give you more motivation to do the same?
Not when you're going around having a bunch of sex with people you don't know. Now, I might be accused of slut-shaming, and okay, fine, guilty as charged. However, this is how you're going to solve the problem, my friend, by addressing the issues. Men do not want to date women who have been ran through. They just don't. That is part of the reason why men are opting out of marriage and relationships. They don't want to deal with women who have been with a lot of men and have lots of emotional problems. That's the problem with all of these adventures and all of this exploring, because it's usually sexual exploration. It's not exploring the world and expanding your mind and learning new things. It's a bunch of women getting emotionally damaged and then bringing that shit back to nice men who have done nothing wrong to warrant that kind of BS.
I know you might be discouraged sometimes. I mean, you definitely should not approach women on the street, because 99.99% of the time that will not be effective. I mean, think about it. These women don't know who you are, and they don't know if you're the good guy or the bad guy. So approaching girls on the street is not a good idea, but I just want to say that it's not completely hopeless. I mean, because women are so much more independent and seeking out adventures and stuff, that is exactly how you find a girl that you want to spend time with.
Now see, this is what makes me believe that you're actually a very oblivious person. Now, I don't mean to say that in a very insulting manner, but I do mean to say that kind of as point of fact, that I don't really think you have understand that men, especially throughout the course of their time in high school and college, have done nothing but try to forge relationships with women and have failed continuously because women don't like them, or women think they're creepy, or some men have become terrified and scared of trying to date women or have sex with women in college because they think that some woman is just going to go off and say that he raped them when it didn't happen. It actually recently happened at a college that I was at. I mean, it wasn't news or anything, but it did happen. I had a girl actually one time tell her boyfriend that I was stalking her, and then she went off and told other friends of mine that I was stalking her. Didn't do anything wrong to this girl, didn't even want to fucking date this girl, and something bad happened between me and her because whatever reason. I have a video on that on my channel, okay? I can talk about all of the girls that I tried to date in high school who have treated me badly when all I had ever wanted to do was love them. And there are lots of men who have done nothing but tried to love women and have been friend-zoned and have been disregarded and abused and treated badly by women. Now, is this all women? No, of course it's not all women. I mean, I know that. And as much as I have been treated badly by women, I still want to get married and I still want to have a relationship with a woman. But I do completely understand why men would say, fuck this shit. Because there's only a certain amount of times you can try to love someone or try to date a woman and try to be with them and get rejected, and not only just rejected but treated badly. My ex-girlfriend did not only break up with me, but afterwards decided it was a fantastic idea to treat me badly. Her reasoning as to why she decided it was a good idea to be really mean to me was because she said, when I break up with a guy, I am a complete dick to them to show them that I no longer have feelings for them. And to that I have to reply, because breaking up with me was not an accurate way to show you no longer had fucking feelings for me. You just had to treat me like fucking shit because you're a woman. I don't know. And that's the problem. Women are causing their own fucking problems, and they're just too oblivious to understand it. Now that's not your fault, and hopefully I have enlightened you here. So, wrap us up.
I mean, if you go on adventures and you seek out similar things, that's a great place to meet a person that's like freaking awesome. So, I mean, if you like certain things, if you like certain interests, and if you join clubs, that's a great place to find a girl. So your situation is not entirely dire, and you definitely shouldn't go into hibernation mode like this article suggests. I'm telling you, I just thought it was so bullshit that I'm gonna link it down below if you want to read it, because I really do want to know what you think about this article, but I just thought it was complete BS, because blaming feminism for this, we definitely should not be blaming feminism. We should be blaming the guys that wrecked it for the other guys in the first place.
And now see, this is where everything will come full circle. You say we should be blaming the guys who wrecked everything up for the nicer men, right? Here's the kicker. Who picked those guys? Who picked those bad boys? Who picked those criminals? Who picked those abusers? Oh wait. Oh yeah, it was women who picked them. It was women who picked the men who ended up abusing them. And then it's women who decide to come back and treat everybody else like shit because of the dumbass decisions they made. Now, I do sound a little bitter there, and I apologize for that. But that is what happened. We cannot get upset at those men because they were fucking jackasses, alright? Women should be punishing the jackasses, not the nice men who want to love them. But that is another video for another time. This is pretty much the end of your video, and subsequently the end of mine. Now, see, I didn't think I really needed to be a gigantic dick to you like a lot of other people were, and I know this video is a lot longer than I intended it to be, but I hope you gained a lot of insight from this video, okay? I noticed you received a great deal of vitriol in the comment section below, and I hope a lot of the people watch my video will not go to your channel and give you some more bullshit, because I think you have obtained enough BS for what you said. So hopefully, if you obtain anything out of this video response, it is a matter of perspective. And I want you to know that men have done nothing but try to love women and have been rewarded with a bunch of hurt feelings and a platter of bullshit. With that being said, I certainly hope anyone who watched this video enjoyed it. And if you did, man, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and click that subscribe button. Comment box below. And as always, have a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.